Okay.
Okay. So today we're going to start the qualitative part of this course, and before I begin, I just want to hear if everything has gone well so far, and you have any questions or concerns regarding all the other stuff that Andreas and Peter took you through. Are we good with all that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. That sounds good. Today, I think, I'm pretty confident that we're not going to spend 3 hours on it. We'll just work on it until it's done, and then I'll let you guys go home. But before I tell you what's on the menu for today, I just want to remind you how I prefer to work in my lectures, and that's my task is to plan the class and give the best conditions for learning, but the best learning happens when you guys are very active. And you guys did well in the last course, so I'm assuming that you will do well here too. So your task is to read before the class, participate actively, and be responsible for your own learning. So my first question would be, how many have read before the class today? I figured. So for next time, please do some of the reading. I have it on a slide at the end of the class. But I actually have prepared for you guys to work with the stuff regardless of whether or not you have read. So far we're doing okay. But next time I'll be expecting that you guys have read the chapters. So the learning goals for today are that you have an overview of the qualitative part of the course, that you have a research question and a theoretical basis and an interview guide ready. So that's what we're going to produce today. We'll come back to that obviously. And that you will be able to conduct your interview for the assignment in qualitative methods. So the program looks like this. I'm doing the introduction right now. Then I'm just going to tell you shortly about the exam and tell you about how we're going to progress through the 3 classes we have together. And then we're going to talk shortly about qualitative research. You guys all know that from last course, so we're going to do that pretty fast. And then we're going to work with the research question and theory, creating an interview guide, try and conduct a short interview, and then work on this in your groups, and then we're going to come to a conclusion in the end. Any questions? No? We're doing fine? Yeah. Okay, so the exam, and honestly, I mean, if you need the details, you will have to check Blackboard. Is written. The deadline is October 12th, and you guys are supposed to work in groups of 2. So my second question of today's class is: have you guys figured out who you're going to work with for the exam? Yeah, everyone has a partner. Cool. All right. Before you guys go today, I'll need to note the names of the persons in each of the groups, so I have control of that. You're going to write about 2,500 words in the tenta, and I prefer it if you wrote in the Times New Roman, 1.5 spacing, and in APA style. But you're used to that, so that should be no problem. Also, the PowerPoint will come up on Blackboard when we're done here. Okay, so I might be repeating myself here, but just so you know, for the exam, I think it's a very good idea to read literature during the course before the exam. That makes the process a lot easier. And use the literature both in the work where you do your research, where you construct your interview guide and conduct your interview, and also in the written product. So that Andreas and Peter and I can see that you guys have worked with theory all the way through, because as I said in the last course, this is what separates you guys, excellent university students, from just some ordinary smug doing an interview based on no theory. You need the literature in there. Yeah? And obviously, if you take the time and do it well, I know you guys have other priorities and whatnot, but if you take your time and do it well, the product will be better and it will probably be more fun during the process. All right. And if you guys have any comments, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll just be standing up here talking for a while. So, the progression of the classes is that today we have, we're going to talk about the research process and the interview. Then we have a week until next class where I would like you guys to perform the interview. And then we have a class on how to transcribe and analyze your interview. And then you guys have another 8 days, I think, to transcribe and analyze your interview. And then we have a class on how to report the results, or the findings. And then you have another 8 days to write your exam. And then there's the deadline for the exam. So that's how I planned it. I mean, I can't force you to do these things. I just think it's a better idea to do it like this than to kind of cram it all in here in the end. So my classes are planned with the expectation that you guys follow this plan. Okay. Let's go into qualitative research. And I would like you guys to discuss in pairs what is it that we know about qualitative research. And if you guys can come up with any points from the last course where we talked a lot about it, that'd be great. If not, come up with your own brilliant points, that's fine too. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to discuss what do we know about qualitative research and how does it differ from quantitative research. Go.
Men det är någonting sånt där, eller hur? Det är ett spår. Samla in.
Ja, precis. Ja, det är det. För att annars så blir det ja och nej. Och det är mer enkelt. Det blir mer kvantitativt. Mer djupgående frågor. Till färre personer. Är det också ofta.
All right. Do you have any good points? I'm going to try and write them up here. I know you guys can't see, but we just have to remember it. Okay, so any suggestions?
Liksom öppna frågor, så inte bara ja och nej.
Okay, and why is that? You're completely right. Why are we using open questions?
För att kunna analysera bättre.
That's true, but okay, let me rephrase it. Why do we use open questions instead of yes/no questions?
För att få en djupare förståelse.
Yes. Okay, so there's something about going deeper. And if we compare that to quantitative research, what do we do there instead of going deeper?
We need a lot of data.
That's true. So usually in quantitative research we have a lot of participants, but very few data points, are very, you could say, superficial. points of data, while when we do qualitative, we have very few people, but we want to go deeper and more into detail. Great. Anything else?
Mindre grupper.
Pardon?
Mindre grupper.
That's right, smaller groups. And yeah, I didn't write it so. Why don't we use big groups in qualitative research?
Det blir för jobbigt.
That's true. Usually we say when people have conducted an interview and they are going to transcribe it, that will take between 8 and 10 times as long as the interview is, depending on how thorough you want to be. So you have one interview with one person, that's, let's say, 10 hours. If you have 10 persons, that's 100 hours. So it kind of adds up pretty quickly. And that's not even including the analysis and the reporting afterwards. In a perfect world, if we had all the time in the world, we would do qualitative research with huge groups as well. Okay, any other points?
We use qualitative research when we want to understand humans
Mm-hmm.
and their feelings and emotions and
That's right.
their thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just going to write understand experiences, so I won't have to write it all, but you're completely right. We want to understand something about human beings and their experience of it. So what is it that we want in quantitative research?
Vad sa du för något?
Come again?
Vad sa du för något?
Inte.
Vad sa du?
I said, was it if we want to understand experiences in qualitative research, what is it that we want in quantitative research?
It's the same but more general, maybe.
Yeah, and then that's true, but also I think the focus is less on understand and more on drawing connections and associations. I mean, we could easily argue that, let's say that motivation is connected to participation in physical activity. So we can draw that conclusion from quantitative research, but if we understand how that connection works, then maybe we'll have to go and interview some people to understand kind of the details in it. Or read the literature, because there's a lot on that out there. Okay, those were some good points. I also have some points over here. So is there anything, do you remember anything about these two words at all?
Yeah.
I hope so. What does ontology and epistemology mean?
Om det är läran om världen och läran om kunskapen och sånt.
That's right. Ontology is not læren om verden, men the knowledge of being, so how things exist. It becomes a little philosophical. And epistemology is the knowledge on how we know. So, if we transfer that to qualitative research, then the world does not exist as one truth, but it exists as we perceive it. And our knowledge is created and co-created and depends on how we subjectively interpret it. So there is no, I mean, if you really go deep into it, there is, in qualitative research, there is no one truth that we have to find, because there's different versions of the truth depending on how we interpret it. Okay, the purpose, we already said that, to explore and understand different phenomena, and it's not to test hypotheses or find the truth. And there are some practical issues with that, and that is that objectivity is not possible within this paradigm. So instead, we try to take our subjectivity into account to kind of arrive at one version of the truth that is valid. Meaning that we need to be aware that when we conduct an interview, for example, the answers do not only depend on the person we're interviewing and how that person sees things, but also how the interviewer affects the interview person. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. With all that in mind, I think we should get you started working a little bit. And in the kursbeskrivning, we have I've made a little checklist or procedure for how you should conduct your qualitative research. And I would like for you guys to go through steps 1 to 3. Just to make sure that I'm not saying anything erroneous. It is find yourself a partner. You already did that. With your partner, you have to choose a area of research and a research question that's, well, hopefully you will be interested in investigating. And it has to be an open question, so you can give a lot of answers. And then you have to find a theory that you think can give a good explanation for, or provide a good basis for analyzing your interview. Yeah? So that's what you have to do now, and you have 10 minutes to do it, and then you will have to present, do a 1 or 2 minute presentation about your research question and the theory. So do you think you can get that far in 10 minutes?